Kingsley, so wonderful to have the opportunity to talk with you. How are you doing? How are you holding up, first of all?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, I'm just, I'm here in London. I'm at home, and working out all of this stuff from Zoom now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, listen, we got to do what we got to do, right? And I'm glad I got the opportunity to talk to you. I have to tell you, this movie just completely blew me away. I being from Toronto, I was lucky enough to see it at the Toronto International Film Festival for the first time.
You saw it a while ago.
I did see it a while ago, but then I watched it again because, you pick up things the second time, maybe even a third time. It's such a brilliantly written movie. That is no question about it. And I wanted to ask you, here are four men that are iconic in history. There's no question about that. Were you at all intimidated or nervous about taking on the role of Malcolm X? I mean, wow.
Well, I kind of asked for it because I remember when the first audition came through for Cassius Clay in the summertime, and I felt a little, I don't know if it's too old or just there was a youthfulness and a jovialness about Cass that I didn't feel that I was right for, but I was definitely really excited by the conversation between Malcolm and Sam in this film, and said to my agent, like, if anything happens to Malcolm or whoever's playing Malcolm, if that part becomes available, I'd be really, really interested in, like, putting something down on tape to share with Regina. And then cut to a few weeks before Christmas, and that's what happened. They were in a bit of a situation where they needed to find a Malcolm, pretty quickly, and I was ready to jump in and do the work. I think there's a bit of a nerve-wracking, I feel like the nerves I felt were definitely around the auditioning time, when it's sort of out of your hands and you're waiting to find out whether you're going to get the job, whether the part's going to be yours, whether it's not, and that can kind of, the anticipation of waiting to find out. But once I got the job, once Regina cast me, we had 12 days over Christmas to prepare, so there wasn't really much time to think about anything else other than just taking a deep dive in and and really just throwing everything you had at it. I had at it, and so yeah, I don't really, in answer to your question, I don't really think I really had time to be to worry about it. I just had to
do it. But when you're playing somebody like that, I mean, how like you say, you only had the 12 days, but did you dive into researching him? Because, obviously, look, we all have seen different portrayals of Malcolm X. Of course, Denzel Washington comes to mind. But this is a different Malcolm X. This is a different time period. This is, these are four guys getting together. The conversations are so real and relevant. But how deep did you have to research to go back and maybe find him during that time period?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because this is an exploration of these men really on one night, on one evening, in the middle of one specific conversation. So it's I definitely felt when I read the script, I was like, wow, this is really Malcolm in a different setting, in a way that we haven't seen him before. And there's something about Kemp's words in this text that it sort of becomes really clear early on that the vulnerability of this piece, the vulnerability of these men, the love and the friendship and the joy and the connection between them is really what's beautiful about this piece. And Regina's sort of mission statement or mantra to us coming in was that, this was a love letter to Black men. And that was such a beautiful sort of idea to have mentally going in. I mean, I was trying to read as much as possible, watch as much as possible. There's the dialect. I was trying to lose the weight. I was just sort of trying everything I could to get into the spirit of Malcolm and sort of understand who he was at this time, and what the stakes for him were at this time. And I mean, I just came across, there was so much information that sort of,
it gets overwhelming, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was a bit of a whirlwind, because I think in an ideal world, you do your reading and then you start your dialect and you pace it out over a longer period of time. But I was in a situation where I had to do it all at once, all at the same time. So I think looking back, the main, work that that I was listening and repeating. So I feel like that really helped me stay in the zone. And I felt like Malcolm was always with me. If I wasn't watching him, he was always in my ear. Like I always had his sound or his visual sort of in my orbit, and that I found kept me in a place of confidence and connected to him. But yeah, listen and repeating, I guess, would be the main thing I was doing.
Yeah, and I find it amazing. Here you have four guys who are friends on screen, obviously, but you guys were thrown into this. Like, you didn't have time to rehearse, get to really know each other. Like, had you even met any of the actors that you worked with before? Because my God, you really get that camaraderie on screen. It's amazing.
That's cool. Thank you. Leslie and I tested together in New York. So there was one Saturday towards just before Christmas where Leslie and I got in a room together, and we threw a couple of scenes over Skype to Regina to see us together in the space.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe gave Regina a bit of an indication of she wanted to see Sam and Malcolm together before she cast it. I think Leslie was already cast, but he came in to test with me and someone else. And I don't know. I feel like there was something about the time pressure. I think there was something about us not knowing each other and knowing that we didn't have that much time that put a really interesting sort of made a really interesting sort of pressure cooker atmosphere that sort of, I don't know, gave us an energy and a real, we really just all jumped into this investigation nonstop until the end. We were always in conversation and asking each other questions and coming in with ideas and bouncing off each other. We really all sort of spent 6 or 7 weeks together, just like investigating the stakes and the world of these men. So it was, I don't know, maybe if we'd had more time, there would have been a different energy coming in. I feel like something about time pressure that can make stuff happen.
Adrenaline too, right? Like, it's like, we got to get this done. And we have Regina King as our director here. Okay, so let's just talk about that, because this woman, I have admired her for a million years. I've met her, and she's just the kindest, most amazing woman beyond belief. But her talent knows no bounds, not just as like an actress. I mean, I just finally watched Watchmen, and I was like, oh my God, she just cannot top herself. She keeps topping herself. And then to have this as her directorial debut as a feature film. I know she's done TV before. To have her in your corner, I can't even imagine what that's like. And to have a woman direct this too, which I find pretty amazing.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Regina's for me, she goes into a very special box of acting talent right at the top. With I don't know, like the Jeffrey Wrights and the Viggo Mortensens and the Olivia Colman, actors who are always operating from such a deep sense of truth and connection and empathy, and I made the assumption that was what she was going to be bringing in when we started, and boy did she. We're talking about someone who really understands the acting process more than anyone I've ever worked with, and she, without us knowing really, I guess looking back, she created an atmosphere on set where there was just calmness and a really deep sense of she really gave us the space to sort of play and investigate and discover. And like, set can be such a technical place and a noisy place, and it's just amazing that she allowed us to really explore and just play on set and find out who these men were and what they were doing in a really special way. So yeah, I'm deeply grateful to have got to been a part of that process.
Yeah, just amazing. There's so much to talk about with this movie, but at the end of the day, when you listen to their conversation, God, 64. Now we're in 2021, and how relevant it all still is. Does it still, blow you away when you look back at that dialogue and look at where we are today?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely had a really strong sense of the stakes of this film and how important these words were, pre what we've just been experiencing in the last sort of 12 months. I think coming into this, that's what drew me to the project, was the conversation that these men are having. I sort of connected with and felt, you know, it's a script and a conversation that I felt was really unique. I hadn't read anything like this or seen anything like this. And, you know, and then we wrapped and we went into this pandemic and George Floyd and everything that's happened since. And, you know, in Regina's words, the time for this film is now, really. And, I agree with her.
Yeah, I totally do too. I can't wait for people to finally see this. And I'm glad that it's going to be on a, you know, a platform like Amazon, where we're going to get a lot of eyeballs watching this. So, you know, and there's a lot of Oscar buzz around this film. How does that make you feel?
I don't know. I haven't checked in on anything in a while, but great if that's all going on, then great for the movie. And I guess what's amazing about Amazon having this is that it's gonna reach so many people in their homes, especially now we're in a situation where we are here in London anyway, we're in and locked down. So yeah, it's all good. Yeah,
it is great. I quickly want to ask you, you know, you always bring such great performances to everything that you do. I was kind of sad that High Fidelity didn't get renewed. That was I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed that. But my God, the Comey Rule, okay, seriously, you know, first you're taking on Malcolm X, then you're taking on Barack Obama. I mean, talk about daunting. What was it like to shoot that and work with Jeff Daniels, who is, you know, amazing?
Jeff was such a major draw. I was like, because I remember getting it and speaking to Billy, and I was like, you know, it's 5 or 6 scenes. It's it's a small part, but like as an acting challenge, I've never sort of had this opportunity to play someone who really existed, and like I wondered like how would you go about doing it, and like how close could you get to the die, especially like one of the most famous men on the planet, like one of the most famous voices on the planet.
Right.
I was like, this means this probably equals like 4 or 5 days on set with Jeff Daniels, and Jeff is like, as far as I'm concerned, he's a vet. I mean, Jeff is as good as you get, and it really was one of the most mind-blowing weeks I've ever had on set. Like it was one of the most important educational experiences in like my acting career so far. Like watching Jeff work and watching him, he just stays in such a like deep bubble of concentration, and his laser focus and his groundedness and his like, I mean, I was taking notes, you know, during the day, just like of things he would say, and Billy is someone who just operates and works from such a place of love and authority and love at the same time, and it was just really interesting to watch. I came on right at the end, so they'd all been together for like, you know, 3 or 4 months, and Brendan Gleeson had just come in and like killed it. So it was a really interesting time to like just pop in at the end and film those scenes. But yeah, it was amazing to shoot both of these roles at the same time, and sort of traveling back from New Orleans and Toronto was it's a situation you dream of, you know. So I was really lucky.
Did you hear from Barack? Come on, did he send you an email?
No, Billy messaged his team and asked them to come down, because I think he was in Toronto at the time, but he didn't have the time.
Well, you know what? He'll watch it again. Him and Michelle, they'll invite you over for coffee. I'm sure it'll be great. So quickly, what else is next? Were you supposed to be making Ang Lee's film, or what's going on with that?
That was a long time ago. Yeah. That we lost the finance for that in 2016 or 17. But yeah,
I would have liked to have seen that. That's too bad. So anything coming up the pike other than, you know, I know it's COVID and it's hard to be, you know, working, but what are we going to see you in next?
I'm not sure. I'm just reading a lot, and you know, it's the pandemic's making it pretty difficult to get back on set, and so I'm just taking my time, and you know, press for this movie's pretty full on and full time at the moment. So yeah, I'm just doing that and reading a lot. So
good stuff.
I'm staying busy from my sofa.
Good stuff. Well, listen, what a pleasure for me to have the opportunity to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time today, Kingsley. And you know, when the pandemic's over, please come visit us back in Toronto. We want you back here, okay?
Yeah, let's do it. I look forward to it.
Best of luck with this movie. It's just spectacular, and thank you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, you too. All right, take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.